What's up, ballers? It's Jack back for another NBA draft profile. Today looking at Grayson Allen, and I got special guest here, JD from Dealing with the Devils, a Duke connoisseur here who's going to be, discussing some Grayson Allen. Say what's up, JD.
Hey, what's up there, folks? Looking forward to this conversation with Jack on Grayson Allen.
Alright, so Grayson Allen, the fourth-year player from Duke. It seems like he's been there much longer than that, especially with the number of trials and tribulations that he's endured at Duke. And, it'd be easy for people to forget that during his freshman year, he didn't play very much until towards the end of the season. He started to play a little bit more, and then he obviously had a great Final Four and championship game that led to a sophomore season where he scored 21.5 points a game and emerged on the national scene for both his strong play as well as tripping incident. Then his junior year, it happened again. He really struggled with injuries and really the pressure of being at Duke. And then finally we have the version of Grayson Allen this season where he's been primarily a three-point shooter, although he hasn't hit with as the efficiency we've seen in previous years. And really he's been, at this point, moved to effectively the point guard position. But in terms of Grayson's strengths and weaknesses, in terms of his strengths, he has decent size at around 6'4", 200 pounds. And he's got good to great athleticism, probably good athlete in terms of the NBA standard, but really he's a fantastic shooter, a guy who uses great footwork and off-ball movement to get open and can hit off-balance as well as on-balance spot-up opportunities or off the dribble. And then lastly here, in terms of his strengths, he's a really quality passer in transition, semi-transition, and he throws a great lob pass. We've seen that throughout the years, but especially he's had much more opportunities this season with Marvin Bagley and Wendell Carter. JD, what do you think of my assessment of Grayson's strengths?
Well, so here's what I think. In the era of the one and done, you've got Grayson Allen at Duke for all 4 years. So already there's something a little unusual about Grayson. But I will tell you that for all of his talents, he is a player that you really have to love to want him on your team because his high is so high. The 37-point performance against Michigan State this year, 7 of 11 from three-point range, and his lows are so low. The game against Furman with just 5 points, and at times he just simply disappears on the court, that when you are penciling in your starting lineup and you want him out there because his talent is incredible, you just never know what you're going to get.
Right. And I think that's a perfect spot for me to transition here between his strengths and his weaknesses, because he's an extremely streaky player, a guy who needs confidence in his game to really have success on any given night. And we've seen some transformation in the game of Grayson Allen from where, as a freshman, he was completely fearless, attacked the lane almost at abandon, and was constantly on the floor, especially after driving for a basket. This year, if you see him on the floor, it's more likely after he dove for a loose ball. Granted, with two bigs, there's less opportunities to get to the basket, but still, especially his sophomore year, when he got extended opportunities, he was constantly driving to the basket, and we've not seen that this year. And I think that's part of the reason why he's been so streaky, is because he's so dependent on that three-point jumper. Now, in terms of Grayson's weaknesses as a player, that confidence, that streakiness is definitely a weakness, because you'd like for him to be consistent, especially since at the next level, he's projecting more to be a role player. And you want your role player, you want to know what you're going to get from him on any given night, and you don't know what you're going to get from Grayson at the start of the night. Now, as I mentioned, he's lost the driving ability with the two bigs, but he's always struggled driving against size. We've seen that in the Champions Classic games in years past, especially the one 2 seasons ago against Kentucky, where he really struggled driving against the size of Kentucky. And, as usual with Grayson, he can be out of control at times. He can get caught in the air when he drives and he doesn't really have anywhere to go. And then defensively, while I do think he does a good job going towards the offensive basket, getting into passing lanes, he can be beat backdoor as an off-ball defender where he kind of falls asleep at times. And on ball, he's probably a bit below average. At times he can be good, but there's too often where he kind of just lets the guy go past him.
It's really interesting because when you break down most players, it's really easy to say here are his strengths and here are his weaknesses. And what makes Grayson so perplexing is he is almost vacillating between strengths and weaknesses within minutes. It's not consistent what you see with Grayson. And it is so frustrating because the way you described it, Jack, the drive to the basket, it would be so easy with both bigs that he has this year, where he's trapped to say, oh, wait a minute, I now have targets left and right. And he's so good at creating that motion, if he would just almost take a deep breath and then go full force, which he loves to do, and then say, if I don't have it, it's an easy, instead of trying to keep the ball high, he goes low and he dishes left or right.
Right, and we'll see what, Grayson can develop at the next level. But, it's definitely been tough for him this season. I think he was expecting more from Duval in terms of being the lead guard and him having more off-ball opportunities, but still, he hasn't shot the ball well no matter how you slice it, and that's definitely hurt his draft stock, and that's what we're really focused on here today. And with that being said, I see him going early second round this season. I think it's, unless his shooting really comes on at the end of the season, which we've seen signs that it's starting to come back, I think he's more likely than not going to go in the second round than late first. If the shooting comes back, he goes on a bit of a run towards the end of the season, yes, I do think he'll go in that late first round area that we've been hearing about ever since his run at the end of his freshman year. But more likely than not, I see him going in the early second round and having an opportunity to contribute to a team that, picking there is not a great team, but he'll be able to get 15 minutes or so off the bench for a below average team.
Well, I'd like to make the comparison to J.J. Redick. I think that there's no question that the guy has got the same outside shot with the addition of this incredible ability to drive to the basket. The thing that so captivated us his freshman year with the dunk, or two, actually, in the Wisconsin championship game that really turned the whole momentum around. But you just don't know if you're going to get that every night. And so, Jack, I agree with you that, it's either someone who's going to want to take a chance and say, this guy's ceiling is really good, or someone else who's going to say, I'm a little skeptical after the, we may have to bring it up. His what's the best way to say it? His mental status during the game. We went the whole season with the tripping incidents, and and seriously being out of control. It seems that he's much more under control this year mentally, but not necessarily simply his performance with the ball.
Yep, and I think Grayson, he's going to be a guy who, it's going to depend on the mental side of things for him at the next level. Does he get his confidence, really that self-confidence that you need at the next level to succeed? Does he get that under wraps and really develop and consistently perform on a nightly basis? That's going to be the difference for him at the next level. But that's it for this wrap-up on draft on Grayson Allen. Check out Draftman Standing every Tuesday at 6:30, as well as follow us on Dealing with the Devils as we cover each Duke basketball game. I'm out. That's it for me and JD. See you guys next time.